On.
Recording has begun.
The speakers on.
Speakers are on. Yes.
Right. The February 2026 meeting of the Board of Commissioners for the South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District is called to order at 6:10 p.m. We have a quorum present. Is there anyone for public comment?
There is not.
We shall move on to the financial report.
All right. First of the year started. So, we obviously haven't got our property tax money in the first couple months of the year. So revenue was relatively low. There was a couple factors in this month that was a little different. One was our sponsorship money came in early from Whidbey Telecom, came in December instead of January. And then that was positive for this year. But then from an expense standpoint, the election bill came in late. So we got the election bill in this year versus last year, which, all right, not the end of the world. But you'll see early on, it's really early to kind of even make a judgment call here. Our revenue is a little lower than projected, and our expenditures are right about where we thought they would be. So we're pretty close on that. The fund balances are pretty stable. One thing you notice is I switched out the capital fund, which remember that was the Max Welton fund, and we kind of emptied that one out. I put in there the capital reserve fund, which our goal there was 250,000. It currently has about 15,000, and that'll be applicable to an issue we talk about later tonight. But the M&O, the reserve levy, and the bond funds are pretty much stable to where they were. Our construction fund, you can see the numbers are getting spent at a much higher rate as the building's going up. Our interest to date is about a little over 650,000, which is great. Still have a little over 10 million. We'll talk about this a little bit too, but we are in the middle of getting the other 12 million bond money released to us. So we're doing pretty good having the $10.8 million left. Our budget projections has that covering us till about June. So we're in good shape. We're anticipating getting the other 12 million about April. So we got about a 2-month cushion there between the two. So contingency report, which is one of our newer reports in this. We're down, not down too much. Last month was pretty calm. We had a little additional piping that we approved. The T and gate valve for possible water connection was about $7,000. That's where we had them put a valve in at the top of the hill so that we can trench down later to put water into the concession stand. Because right now the water in the concession stand is pretty much not drinkable. So originally the whole plan was, part of the original plan was to have that be part of the project. But when we were reducing cost, we decided just to put the valve in and let our guys do it at a later date because it wasn't that complicated once the valve was in. Unfortunately, it didn't get put into the plans. So we had to do a change order for that. There's only about 7,000, so it wasn't too much, but that'll be a nice enhancement when we get to it to get the concession stand with some pure water. And then we added some fall protection for the lower roof. Fall protection of the little things you tie into, little things. So when you're on the roof, you can tie in so you don't fall off. So those weren't put on the lower roof originally. So we added those in. So that was some of the contingency money that got spent over the last month. So still pretty healthy at 2.6, and pretty much the earth has all been dug up. And that's a lot of what you're concerned about in contingency is what they're going to find when they start digging things up. And for the most part, they're done digging. So what we know what we have under the earth, and we haven't incurred any significant cost during that. So we're real happy with that portion of it. So other than that, the year is early. The money's looking good, so pretty healthy right now. So any questions about the report?
It's nice to hear about the digging because in my mind, after I remember their water report early on talking about the water table being so very, very high, but there hasn't been any issues with that thus far, right?
Yeah,
that's great.
So far, so good. Our water's been turned off for about a month, actually about a month and a half. So we're living on the 100,000 gallon tank reserve at this point, which since we're not doing irrigation isn't that big a deal. But as spring's coming, we need it back. So they're getting that well pump in. Actually, it's supposed to be in by the end of next month or next week. So we should be ready to turn the water back on and fill the tank back up. So yeah, really, I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces in our park right now, but it's going, and there's no huge red flag, just a lot of little flags that we've been dealing with. So. Talk vouchers.
We should.
Just a few things to highlight on the vouchers that I found. Couple bigger things. There was a $7,000 fertilizer, which is just kind of our standard big purchase. Oh, is it not showing the screen? Close that screen up, maybe it'll release it. There it is. That's just, it's a big purchase, but it's just getting ready for spring, which apparently came in January this year. You'll also notice a $4,000 wood purchase, which we'll talk about in a bit. Tom has taken very seriously getting his park back. So he's done some really interesting beautification projects over the last month or two, him and his staff have. So the wood is part of that, and we'll talk about where that went. And then you have this weird little credit that actually I didn't even understand, and Carrie had to kind of explain it to me. Sky's going to the WRPA conference this spring. And so we had money in our travel budget because I didn't go to conference last year in last year's budget. So in December, we had him purchase the registration and get a hotel and do all that out of last year's budget. So we wouldn't take the ding this year. And long story short, you couldn't pay, Carrie, tell me if I'm saying this wrong. The hotel charges you after you use it. But Sky submitted the paperwork that showed a $546 receipt. So Carrie added that to the Visa fee. So we paid an extra $546 on the Visa card last year because we assumed that was coming. Then we realized, no, it's not coming until later. So it actually still works out, but that's why there's this weird $500 credit sitting on the vouchers. So, other than that, I didn't see anything in the vouchers that really jumped out at me. Anything you guys want to talk about or get through? First month of the year, kind of calm. No one wants to spend money too quickly. So that is all I got for the vouchers.
If there is no further discussion, I would entertain an approval of the consent agenda.
I will move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Mr. I.
Jake, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. Moving on to the staff report.
All right, well, we talked a little bit about basketball. It is going at full strength right now. It's been very successful. First through third grade league, which is playing almost exclusively over here across the campus on the South Campus. That's going to end in early March. Fourth and sixth graders who started later, they'll end about mid-March. But so far, so good. Lots of the games have started on Saturdays. So Sky has been running ragged, which is fun to watch. But a lot of it's just fun watching the kids. It's fun watching the kids here come into practice and they got their balls. They're all excited, and so far so good. Sky's doing a great job. He's also working on the summer activity guide. Started those conversations, so we hope to have that out by April. Getting the stuff ready for summer. He's reaching out to his instructors. Pickles reached out to us about a possible sponsorship. Yeah, they specifically were asking if they could sponsor a basketball team, and I said, well, we've already got that covered, but. And I specifically then said, we do have pickleball courts, and what an interesting option this could be. So we're going to meet in early March to talk about, maybe a tournament, maybe just something. So we're going to just talk and see where that goes.
Totally picture a pickle with holding.
I mean,
Right?
yeah, I mean, that's just the perfect sponsor for that play. So, but love the interaction so far. We're just going to have to sit down and talk through it. The Chump Run keeps moving north. This year it's going to be up in Oak Harbor at the Windjammer Park on July 3rd. They're going to make it part of the big 4th of July celebration up there. Okay. I think I mentioned a little bit before, we still have not heard back on our request from the community center to have a meeting just to kind of clear the air and make sure we're on the same page regarding using their space. So this time, we're just not doing any programming of the upstairs gym after the basketball season's done. We'll just continue to put our request in for the lower gym. And just want to continue to emphasize that we appreciate the superintendent and the elementary school principal for opening up the North Campus and made the 4th and 6th grade league happen. Without that, there would have been a 4th and 6th grade league, and that would have just been a shame because there was like 60 kids in that league. So we appreciate that. Facilities staff have designed. I'm just going to shoot you some pictures here and show you what Tom and his guy. They're not great pictures, and I apologize for that, but you can see at the sports complex, this is kind of where it started. They built a retaining wall here and made it nice and crisp. As the spring comes, they'll put some flowers and plants in there. That worked so well, they decided to do the same thing, and this is still a work in progress at the main entrance of the community park. They had taken a couple of dead trees out there as part of our project earlier in the spring, so it was kind of ugly. So now it looks really crisp when it's hard to notice because there's so much construction there, but it does make the entrance look a lot nicer. And then we mentioned that wood earlier, and this is kind of just a different view of the community center entrance or the community park entrance. And then along field 4, this was the wood project. There's 2 things that go on here. One is during softball season, this becomes a parking lot, and it becomes a real safety issue because you got people parking on this side and the other side. It becomes almost a single lane road. A lot of people running in and out, and we have a new water line coming down this pike now. Mm-hmm. So this is not only decor, and the fact that through the project, this entire area here got tore up. It just became a great opportunity to make this something beautiful. So it looks really crisp. It looks a lot better now. This was taken last week. So anyways, both sets of parks right now, where I think Tom's doing his best to try to make things look beautiful in the middle of a lot of chaos. So, and kudos to him for keeping his staff productive. The other thing, and this was just part of one of our change orders that we agreed to. Part of their contract was to restore the grass and everything back to the way they found it. Well, they're not going to do that the way Tom does it. So in one of our negotiations on the change order, Tom came and said, can we just have them buy the supplies and have us do it because I don't have to redo what they do? Fair enough. And so Tom and his guys also have been restoring some of the dirt work that's come along. And as things start growing now, he'll have it looking beautiful and back to things. So, but so far so good. There's a lot of dangers in the park right now, and a lot of hazards. And so Tom and his guys, and along with Lincoln, have done a really good job of trying to tone them off, close them off, do as much as we can to make sure people know that, to be safe and, all that. So as we're getting pretty close to the end, the earthwork people have 2 more weeks on site. So by that time, all of the park should be done, and they should be at their 3 sites of the water tank, the septic area, and the park or the pool. So the main park should be back to its full capacity and normal within a couple of weeks. So, which is good. So anyways, kudos to Tom and his staff. They're obviously rock stars. I have not a tentative meeting anymore, but a confirmed meeting with Jennifer and Eric in a couple of weeks. We're going to discuss our need to update the ILA. We're going to have a preliminary conversation amongst ourselves, and then try to set a meeting with the superintendent or whoever she deems appropriate for that conversation to kind of start that conversation. And then Jake and Krista and I, Jake and Krista representing actually Jake won't be able to make it, but Krista and I, along with Tom, will be doing our annual lake visit tomorrow with the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and Krista was able to get Island County to show up at the table. So we're going to have some representatives from Island County out there. And so, yeah, that's huge. And so we're going to have a good conversation. The weather's supposed to cooperate. We'll see. I'm bringing last year's list so that we can kind of see, here's what we talked about last year, what was done, what wasn't done. So, so that'll be a good conversation. With Jim Nelson, we are presenting next week to S&P analyst with the goal of getting the next $12 million. So that's on the 24th. We're having our rehearsal this Friday. Kind of go through that thing. I did the virtual webinar for RCO for their annual or their every 2-year funding cycle a couple days ago or last week. Initial thoughts is that trying to take on a new project and the work associated with the grant and the fact that we would need matching money for a grant might make this more than we can handle, but we're still kind of vetting ideas and maybe some smaller projects and some, and you know, Tom had brought up the idea of maybe replacing all the backstops. We went and looked at all the backstops and they're getting kind of frayed and beat up, and there's some possibilities, but taking on another project right now seems like a lot. So we're not saying no, we're just kind of looking at options. So by March's meeting, we might coming back with some more specific ideas of where we are with that. So we hate to lose a cycle. But at the same time, staff are really stretched out. I mean, we're building a pool. So there's kind of that balance. So just let you know that that is moving forward and we'll see where it goes. We are taking a day on March 4th. We're going to close the office. We're going to just take a day to basically have just a staff retreat. The next 12 to 16 months are going to be extremely intense with a lot of moving pieces. Really, for our standpoint, as a whole staff team, opening the pool is going to be probably more work than actually getting the pool to where it is now. So we have to talk about all the logistics and all the little things. So we're just going to take a day and get a big whiteboard.
So is that the 4 of you, or does that include Tom?
And Tom was invited, but really it's administrative stuff we're talking about. So it's a 2-page agenda right now. That's, I don't know how we'll get done in one day, but there's just a lot to talk to. We just want to, it's not administratively crazy right now, but as we start getting into the fall and looking at hiring staff and looking at, you know, being 6 months away from opening and 5 months, I mean, things are going to snowball very quickly. So if we don't have a real deliberate, organized plan at this point, we're going to be in trouble. So we're in good shape now to put that together, put out a 12 to 16 month calendar of what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. And, you know, we'll all be more relaxed if we're organized. We're going to get organized and maybe go hide up in the crow's nest for the day.
Is there anything that the board can either do individually or collectively to assist with that retreat?
By lunch. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was just joking. You're also welcome. If you guys want to come and hang out, you're certainly welcome. It's a Wednesday. It's just really meant to be a, you know, we in the office, we're always spending time talking about, hey, what about this? We gotta think about that. And it's always just a little quilt where we're just kind of patching things together. It's like we need a day just to tie that together and to say, okay, here's our bigger picture. And then once we have a really 12 to 16 month work plan, that's something that there might be opportunity to engage with, to say, oh, here's something we can help out with, or things that can be done. And a lot of it's just a lot of logistics. It's just making sure that we're organized so that when we get occupancy in March of 27, we can open that pool as soon to that date as we can, which I think is probably going to be about May. But we don't want it to be June because we weren't organized now. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure that we're minimizing the time between when we can get occupancy and when we can open it to the public. So anyways. And me and Carrie both relax more when, right? I didn't mention Sky. So anyways, we're doing that day. Conversation piece, we've had 2 requests recently for memorial benches. One was from Pat and Kate McVeigh. They're interested in donating a bench in honor of a young person who passed. Another family is interested in donating a bench for the aquatic center for a family member. The McVeigh request we'll bring back when I have details with pictures and locations for you guys to approve or not. But it kind of opened up the conversation of not necessarily with a hard decision right now, but at least some guidance as to what you guys' thoughts are. You know, the aquatic center is going to be a hot commodity place. I would think it's going to be a place that if I'm making a dedication where, I mean, when it comes to benches or things like that at the aquatic center, you guys want to put some parameters, you just want to continue to do a first come, first serve, and we're going to need benches. So if people want to buy a bench, it's a nice thing, but you just want to just take it one by one. And if someone makes a request, I just bring it to you and you guys can discuss it. Want to put some guidelines to it? Understand my question?
Outdoor, both?
Outdoor. So, I mean, like, for instance, you're going to want benches on the outside entrance where people are waiting for a ride or waiting for someone to get out of the pool. And I mean, there's places there for benches, but because I think it is going to be a popular location. Is that something you guys want to put parameters on, or do you just want to just take it case by case and
I mean, I would say we should look to how other people are doing it just for ideas. We look, Bellingham Pool has a plaza outside, kind of a, where you can set up tables, and chairs, and, take some quiet time, and they allow people to buy bricks in that plaza to dedicate to people, and you can buy like an area and, for a larger donation, that kind of thing. And, it's basically just like an outdoor semi lounge for people to go sit. And there's other examples, Mount Vernon's got a different, Mount Terrace has got a different setup and benches outside like Oak Harbor's got. So I would just say we maybe just do a little surveying and see what looks appealing.
We are gonna need benches.
Mhm.
I like the idea of people wanting to do that. But we don't want like a green bench and a
Yeah.
black bench.
Oh, no, we would control.
You know what I mean? Like, so
Right, paint.
maybe it's a question of finding a couple or one or two different designs or styles that are given as options to people. Like there can be maybe a little bit of variation so that they can make it personal, but again, still works with the design of the aquatic center.
No, yeah, we would control. We would say, this is the bench. You can buy the black. Right, and that would be the,
Well, now you say the bench, so one of the things that came up in our survey before was talking to the Navy base. And the MWR programs will supply materials and things like that, and they gave Oak Harbor Pool, when they did the $600,000 renovation, they gave them 2 or 3 of those big concrete, semi-permanent picnic tables and benches like that are outside in that entryway, and so they were provided by the Navy MWR. So potentially we could get those, and then what people could pay for is like plaque or
Right.
something like that. So they're all standard, to your point, but then they can be personalized with with something that looks, you squint your eyes, it all looks the same. But if you happen to be driving by a car, just stop in there and look at those things. They're pretty generic and beefy, and they look really professional and kind of high end.
No one's willing to make up.
One thing that kind of comes up when we do different like memorials or donation recognition type things is like the skate park, for instance, where there's those bricks, those tiles. They're in disrepair, a good many of them. And so, do you build in some sort of life of this bench sort of expectation so that they know from the outset that we're not, it has its usable lifetime.
so we did this recently with the pickleball, where you guys approved the couple pickleball benches that were purchased by individuals. And they were told that the bench has a certain shelf life. And at that point, you'd be given the option if you wanted to buy another one that will obviously keep it in good repair as we can. But in this case, I've got a specific family who's willing to buy a bench that we tell them which one. And I mean, I can tell them, we're just not ready to have that conversation yet. Obviously, they know that it wouldn't be put in until spring of 27. So they're not thinking it's going to happen tomorrow. Or I can tell them to put together a proposal of what you'd want to, give me something and I can bring it back to you guys to discuss this specific case. I just have to know what to tell this specific family. That one family that's willing to buy a bench for it.
Is there anything in the plans for benches seating outside?
Outside.
Okay.
But there's space for it. And, I don't want to hodgepodge and start throwing things out there. So I think there is room to be deliberate with, okay, here's where we think benches should go. X amount of benches, whether we want to do a plaza, whether we want to do benches. So maybe that's the answer is, okay, we as a board or you as a board kind of need to decide what you want the space to look like. And then we can identify, well, we've identified spaces for 3 benches. And if you want to buy one of those benches, then you can make it a presentation to give us a few months to kind of decide what we want that area to look like. That seem reasonable? Yeah. They're not, they were very patient. Initially, they were just going to buy one in the park. And then they thought, oh, what if we bought one for the pool? And she even said in her email, I understand that that wouldn't be available for a year and a half, but still cool. So, all right, that's
Yeah, and different people have different perceptions what that's gonna be. When you brought up McVeigh's, I'm thinking, okay, he may be thinking, I'm gonna carve wood.
Oh, he is.
and, You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's completely different than what
Yes.
we
Yeah.
may be thinking.
No, the ones in the pool would be like the pickleball ones where we're telling you, these are the options. So they have a uniform look. The McVeigh one we're looking at is going into the trails or going, they have very specific, that kind of, and that does obviously tie in with the other signage.
But we're gonna, I
Looking
mean,
at this.
the building's gonna be connected to the trail system in the park, right? So you could have bay style benches, in the connection trails.
But I think they particularly, the McVeigh one, this kid, I think he ran cross country.
Yeah.
And so they wanted in the trail specifically. So that's a perfect fit. And is that we're meeting.
So it's the other one that understands they'd be waiting.
Yes.
Okay.
The one that
Sorry,
wants it.
I lost track.
There's two. And there's the McVeigh one they wanted in the trails, and it's a Pat style. And we'll bring that back to you when he has a draft of what it would look like. And we're gonna meet out there and do a walk and figure out a good location to propose. So we'll bring that back to you when we have it.
So the McVeigh one, we're unanimously like, okay with, but I sure am. I
I
should
assume,
even have some say so of where
Yeah.
it goes with how
Yeah.
much influence he's had on.
we'll bring that back as an official proposal for you guys to vote on. He's creating one for the family. And when that's done, he's gonna take a picture of it, because that's what he's gonna want to clone in the park. So we're just waiting for them to have a picture. And then we're gonna set a date, he's probably in early March, to just do a site walk. And they said they have some ideas. I'm sure Tom will have some ideas and figure out the right place for that. So that'll come back to you probably in the March meeting. So, okay. Well,
So
then
the other family, you'll let them know that.
I'll let them know that we need to figure out the layout. And once we figured out a layout, if they want to engage it with a proposal at that point, then I can bring back to you. If there's certain benches that can be
Yeah.
In
memorialized.
concept, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, and I mean, just from a tilt perspective, I would say we should present options to them rather than they present an idea, because to fit it into the design,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna I think it's the wrong dynamic. Like, we should say, these are the options, choose between these things. And otherwise it's gonna get unwieldy.
Absolutely.
Thank them
Yes.
for giving us this opportunity to figure out what we're gonna be proposing.
And there may be, other people that want to do this, so we might want to think about making an option for people. Yeah.
Well, it's the new visible place on the south end. So it's going to draw some attention that way. So. Good. All right. Well, thank you. That's good direction.
A quick reminder about the Newman bleachers as well.
Yes.
Yes. So they still were waiting for feedback.
April.
on it.
Are they waiting? I thought they were coming in April. Do we need feedback before April?
Well, an idea of what the bleacher,
I looked at, and is bleachers what they're kind of their heart set on? Or is it just one of the ideas?
I think it's one of the ideas. I think they could be swayed based on the experience.
Because I mean, I was looking at a lot of things. I was talking to Sky about it, and Sky and Katie, both pickleball people, and I asked them to talk to the pickleball people of what would be a good honoring thing, because shade kept getting brought up, so rather it was some kind of picnic table with a covering. I mean, I was looking at some shades that can connect to a fence. Bleachers are obviously good, but if the idea of the bleachers is to bring tournaments in, well, if we had a tournament, we could bring our bleachers in. And that doesn't devalue the value of
And I think
bleachers.
that's where bleachers came from, was they are used to going to tournaments all the time where
Right.
bleachers are common seating.
Yeah, and I would say if we had a tournament up there, we could bring the bleachers. I'm not saying we don't want bleachers. I'm just saying if they're looking for something to really enhance that space, there's a lot of different options. And part of it is, and without asking, is what are we talking about? How much are they wanting to invest?
Yes.
That's part of the conversation. So I don't know if they want to wait till
One
April.
may lead to the other, though. I think what they're
Certainly.
looking for is like, what would the cost be? What kind of things are out there?
Sure. But we have a list running right now, and I don't know if they want to have that conversation before April. Be happy to have that before April if they want to connect somehow, if you want to put us together. Or if they want to wait till April, I mean, I could put something together in writing and shoot it to them through you, or you can give me their contact. So, yeah, we have started the conversation. I specifically asked Sky and Katie, who were entrenched with that community out there, pick their brains a little bit. Just say, without using, hey, these people are going to get money. Just start saying, hey, what enhancements are you looking for besides putting the cover over the entire court? It's just, but several ideas came up quickly. A water bottle filling station, things that if you're just looking to invest something that says,
Yeah, I think they brought up, yeah, I would go down the road of maybe just giving them a rough estimate of what bleachers would look like, and
Okay.
if that would be
if bleachers are what they want to focus on, then I'll do.
there, yeah.
Sure, there's certainly space for it. We added that extra asphalt specifically to give some space there. So, yeah, awesome. Okay. All right. That's a staff report.
That's all right. Are there any committee or community meeting reports? Until next month when we have our late report.
We'll have a light blue one next one.
Moving on to unfinished business, the comprehensive plan programs.
All right. Pickleball. Start with pickleball. The sports court servicing has been tentatively scheduled for the week of May 11th. I say tentatively because I'm hoping that it'll be sooner. We need 50+ degree weather and no rain for several days. So they put it on their calendar for May 11th with the understanding that if we get a good stretch, that they can come too
They
soon.
could have done it in January.
Yeah, well, the temperature was the issue. I actually shot that. That's kind of what started this conversation was, softly dry. But they need a warmer. So, okay, we want it done well. And really,
When you say sports court, what are we talking?
the blue and green surfacing.
The basketball?
No, pickleball. No, the pickleball courts. Honestly, the courts are being used. People are happy. I don't feel there's no like, oh my gosh, when are these going to be done? They're just happy to have them open. So, and with this gorgeous weather, they've been used quite a bit. Just happened there.
Sorry.
Oh, didn't know you could do that.
I didn't realize you had the live.
So anyways, so May 11th is kind of hopefully the latest date. I'm still hoping for March or April if we have a nice spring. Which brings the next conversation point. We've had our first request to rent the courts. This is something that we're going to need to make a policy either for or against. If we think we should rent it, if we're going to rent it, I'm not. So here's the vision. I want the specific request in this case was a birthday party. I want to have a birthday party. I want to rent the shelter and rent a pickleball court so we can play pickleball. Which right now the pickleball courts aren't that busy, but in the summer they're going to be packed. Or people would say, I just want to play with people I want to play with and I don't want to rotate out. And I'm willing to pay for it. So the question is, do we want to get into the renting of courts? If we do, I would suggest no more than 2, like courts 5 and 6. Like don't rent the whole thing out. It's a public court. You don't want to be exclusive to the public. I have some for the revenue it would bring in, it'd be a bit of an administrative headache as far as, hey, these guys won't get off my court. And there's some logistics there, but I can see an advantage for people who wanted to do a party, wanted to do something else. I can go either. So I don't know that I'm making a recommendation. I would love your input as to what you guys think we should do.
How would that work with like an instructor who wants to rent?
If it was our instructor, like Barry, then
Outside.
yeah, okay, and outside, then it would be like anything else we do. It's like, it's like a goalie coach coming in. You can't make money on our courts without going through us. So if an outside instructor wanted to come in, he would have to come under our own. Because it's like, you can't be making money off the courts as a private business. So, but I think I don't want to wait, or I want to make sure I've got a court and it's worth $20 to me to make sure I've got a court.
I have a personal gutorial reaction to the word rent. It's a public space.
Yeah.
Once again, I go back to, I was a kid who loved park and recreation opportunities. I didn't have money. It wasn't rented. I want people to be able to play when they can play. If that means sacrificing the dollars and rental fees, then I would advocate more for leave it open for the public who wants to go up there and play. Grandpa, son, daughter, kids from school that I will encourage after our next 2 weeks of
There
pickleball
you go.
to play out there. And I want them to have that opportunity. I don't want them to show up and go, oh, these courts are being rented right now. So that's my own personal opinion. I just
Where do you play pickleball when you do pickleball?
Gym.
In the park, oh, the gym, okay.
main
That
gym,
makes sense.
8 courts. Very, very
You
fun.
can come up to the park next year if you want.
I'm thinking about doing that just to expose them to it, to let them know it's there.
It's a bit of a daunt.
But I talk it up quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's a perfect age group to be there.
I mean, I think we're gonna face this with the pool, right? And the way most public pools do it is they establish party windows. So like Townsend Pool has Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. And they know that those are the times that it can be rented. It's not rented other times. People expect that and they get a certain portion. They get a party room and they get, half of one pool or whatever. But to me, I think if we did something like this, we should have some known windows that are outside, on the fringes of when they're most heavily used, to your point, and then that we publicize it. So there's an expectation. This is when you could do it if you wanted to do it. And this is when parties would happen at something like this or at the pool. But my own personal opinion is think about it in those terms and see if there's something that makes sense in the weekly schedule where we could say you could rent these 4 2-hour blocks and that's it. You can't just come in on a Monday at 5 p.m.
The only advantage of renting it is if you're doing it during the peak time, right? Because if you go out there tomorrow afternoon, renting it would make sense. So, we don't have to do anything right now. We can let this sit for 6 months and see how the court's usage is going, see if we're getting more requests. I had the same initial reaction that Eric did, and he and Sky go around on the wanting to schedule certain times up there, like this is for advanced times. And I'm just like, to me, this is an open court that's let people play. That's kind of my gut reaction to this too. On the other hand, I can see revenue. I also can see convenience.
Well, and one thing, like kind of to your point, I think is say you have a party and 25 kids show up. How many of those didn't even know that the pickleball courts were there? And then they play, and how many of those like have fun playing, and then they tell their sister or brother, and so there's an aspect of, I think, that party rental that expands the footprint of whatever it is, whether it's the pool or the pickleball courts, where you maybe get to people. I mean, when we talked about these programs, I remember when we presented them in Olympia, we said we are trying to increase our reach to try to get to more people who don't use the parks, who don't come to programs. And maybe through a party, you get invited to something that you might not do otherwise. So just for thought.
I kind of like the idea of seeing where we're at for 6 months, a year, see when our prime time is, when our slow time is. And at first thought with you and Eric, I'm like, I don't love the idea of blocking it out. But we can't just show up. But what Matt said too, that makes some good sense of maybe after we see when our prime times are and our slow times, like if we decided to have specific blocks. So the public would know that there could be a rental. I kind of like the idea of
And
waiting
limiting
and
it.
see like
Like
what our numbers are.
limiting
The
it
day.
to 1 or 2. Whole.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the open outdoor nice new courts are probably to a degree gonna pull from our program. So
Yes.
presumably we'll have less pickleball program revenue. Nice to offset that.
The business manager.
Every year after we do pickleball at the high school, middle school, kids are out playing on the tennis courts because they haven't had this. So, and they're playing with relatives, they're playing with each other. So my vision is hopefully seeing kids cruise up there and know that it's close enough that they can now have a place to play other than tennis courts.
Well, the interesting, and Jake said, kind of got me thinking, when you talk about what's the busy times, that's when people are gonna call us and request to rent the thing. If I go out there and all 6 courts are full and there's 10 people waiting, that's when I'm gonna call and say, is there a way to reserve a court so I know I can actually be here? If we don't get those calls, then that's gonna tell us something too. So as we, so maybe, as I'm hearing from a couple of you, maybe the right answer is let's get through summer. Let's get through our busy time out there, the first cycle of this, and really see what the demand is. And then we can have a different conversation and see if it's a needed thing
People
or not.
requesting a birthday party, requesting the whole thing, or just
I didn't talk to them.
were they just exploring?
I mean, I did birthday parties as a tennis coach when I was in middle school, and you rent a court.
Yeah.
And out of 4 or whatever, like you put
I was
30 kids on a
thinking,
court and have one.
I was
counselor or
seriously
coach.
worried about, being too crowded.
It's the
they
fun
could
part,
probably
is just
pull up
bombing
over.
around on the court with, 12 balls and 48 paddles and just let's go hammer this thing.
This could have been a senior's birthday party. This could have been a pickleball player. I don't know. I didn't talk to him.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm not sure
I'm
it was a kid's party.
Yeah, right. It could be.
For some reason, I was thinking it was a kid, but it could be. just-
We think birthday parties.
Yeah.
We all stop having birthday parties at a certain age.
I mean, there might, but to your point about the bleachers, like future state, we're hosting a big tournament here. The whole place is down for a 3-day weekend for a tournament, and you can play in it as a local kid or adult and play your way into and so I think like this could, bring people to the park from all over, right? I mean, it's one of few facilities like it, and but any Seattle City Park, go to Green Lake. It's 150 people in line waiting to play King of the Court. They got it's all jammed and there's no place for anything. We can set, we could really host, people would come, show off the park.
I'm hearing a lot of good thoughts, but I'm not hearing any deep motivation right now to do this today. But let's get through that.
I would say let it ride and see how it goes. I mean, there may be just a ton of people on it this summer as the weather gets warmer, or it may be self-regulating.
Yeah.
If I know it's busy at 5, okay, I'll go at 7.
Six courts might be enough. And you're right, they might just space out. But we'll see. And let's see. Let's let the numbers dictate. I'll keep you updated.
So are there natural cycles like you talked about rotating out? I mean, so like, is that,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
already
there's
some natural parameters in there?
there's some time on the rules thing. There's some time parameters, like you only play for so many minutes, and yeah, but we have a paddle holder where you
I
can
saw
put your
that.
you can put your paddle in for the next game, for the next court. So yeah, there's some, and they do the pickleball communities here are so in sync that they do a good job communicating. They're not, if a new person came out there, I feel like the Would-Be Island pickleball people or the Would-Be Island, the dogs and all the different groups, I think they do a good job of kind of, hey, this is the way it works. That's the vibe I get. I get that they're pretty open. So I think a new person or a kid that came out and wanted to play, I think they would feel welcome. So, okay, thank you.
Be good to have, Tom have his staff that are on the weekends. Just note usage.
Yeah.
While they're there on the weekend. Just-
I'm expecting Sky to be out there.
Yeah, and know that there will be people that take over a court for the party. But we
Show up
should know,
early.
we should be ready to react to that and just let it ride or, take issue with it because, water flows,
They'll find us. So onto the pool, Carrie and I, we're gonna meet with a couple people from the foundation next week to discuss the scholarship program. Oh, you're excited.
I am excited. It's good, not good cheer. One up north. Island Thrift,
Okay,
paid
no Carver?
$3,000, I wanna say,
Who?
to the foundation
Oh,
for the swim.
oh,
Got it.
really? I didn't hear that. I met their new president yesterday, briefly. She was in. So interesting.
They've often donated to the Healthy Island Youth Scholarship Fund as well. Like they were one of the major donors for that
Island
program.
That's
His name is Senior Thrift.
No,
Talking about the same thing.
Want to know?
Island Thrift is its own down.
Carver.
Island Thrift is big up there and they have a lot of money.
Michael Carver.
Yeah.
Oh,
Been going there since I was a little tyke.
The old Goodwill.
But this is just another one of the logistical things. The foundation wants to start talking about how they're raising money for scholarships, so we've got to figure out how that's going to be implemented, who it's going to be implemented for, what are the criteria, all those kind of things. So we're going to have kind of a initial kind of a launch conversation under that. As I mentioned earlier, the community park's pretty beat up right now. It just is what it is. There's trenches and there's pipes and pretty much it's being covered up. And Tom and his guys are jumping on it.
A
And
lot of tire track.
yeah, constant. Poor Tom. This is his baby, but I'm really just impressed with how they're making the best of it, and he's working really closely with the guys on the Lincoln's subcontractors to just make sure that we're minimizing the impact and keep it as much open as possible. Yeah, we almost closed the park on Monday for the holiday, which would have been a shame because they're trying to asphalt. They need a day to asphalt over all those metal plates that they have in the park. So, but the asphalt plant closed. So they're in asphalt. So in a couple of weeks, we'll have to close the park. We had to close the park twice now, I think. But once they get out of the main park in the next couple of weeks, that should stop. It shouldn't impact the park any, which is great. And then this is kind of similar to the conversation we had before, but it's a little different. Someone from the foundation reached out to me the other day. They're interested in starting the conversation about a donor plaque inside the facility. And this gets a lot more complicated. So very preliminary conversations. And I'd like to kind of know your thoughts. So they don't have a proposal. They don't have a specific, this is what we would like. They're just simply wondering if there's a way to acknowledge people who have given to the project. So to do something like this, to do it by name, we would have to put criteria for, okay, you gave 5,000, you're getting acknowledged, you gave 1,000, you're not. Or you spent every Saturday out at Bayview Market for 2 years promoting this. And, it becomes this really gray area as to who gets acknowledged.
Well, how is that any different than any plaque that you would see at a theater or anything like that, where you've got
Right.
people who gave more than 25,000, there's their names, and people who gave 10,000.
It's not different. There would just have to be those criteria laid out. So who doesn't make the plaque is the question. And that becomes
But what I
it's a bit of a can of
people
worms.
dedicate Time.
Huh?
Yeah, what I hear you saying is people dedicate time.
There's a lot of
They
people that have given a lot to this.
10,000, but they dedicated
Well,
a ton of time.
And I don't want to deal with those people coming in saying, why is my name not
I
there?
know, I mean, and you walk in any facility around here, there's that kind of a mural on the wall when you walk in, the new one in Tacoma, not like Terrace has one.
Wicca.
Yeah,
that's exactly-
everybody's got that. So we got to figure out how to incorporate that and setting criteria. I was giving blood yesterday. There's bronze ones for you give this much, there's silver ones for this much. Hold them for this much. I want to get on the list, but I got to spend another 2 years working on it, yeah, we got to figure it out. That's got to be part of this somehow.
Yeah.
And also, is there can a certain number of slots be given to the foundation for them to figure it out?
Yeah.
Whether it's 15 or 20 or 25, like, hey, you get like whatever amount, like, we're not going to get involved, but because you as an organization have done so much,
That's a good idea.
this is what you get. You figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that you're not.
This is
giving
the
those
design, this is what we're gonna put up, this is, and for going forward in terms of dollar amounts, right? Because it's not just who has contributed to date, but who will be contributing in the future. And we want to make sure that we have capacity for all of those future donations.
That's great.
So you're proposing, telling the foundation you get 20 slots.
Whatever.
What are the numbers? And you can put whatever names in there, those 20 slots you want. My issue is, and my question is, it's not realistic that person number 21 isn't going to be at the next board meeting saying, what about me? That's what I'm saying. Maybe they won't, I'm just saying, if
They're-
maybe,
Not everyone gets a medal.
Yeah.
not everyone, sure, but, okay, so the 20 people each gave $10,000. I gave $10,000 too. And that's where it becomes, I'm just preparing for the other side of this, which is we, I won't get into the specifics. We had the situation recently with one of the staff who had bought supplies for a group of people, and one person didn't get that supplies because they didn't meet the criteria given. And fine, and
Or there can be like, if there are, let's say, dollar amounts,
it's a little more tangible,
whatever it is, right?
1,000, 5,000,
Whoever
10,000.
from the foundation who has already given those amounts, those are names that can go up.
Sure.
Oh, and you have a bunch of people that you would like to thank for their time and energy, but who did not give thousands of dollars,
Didn't have the capacity.
didn't have the capacity, but they gave in other ways. Here are X many for you to thank these people in this way. The foundation knows how much people gave
Oh, sure.
On how much time they spent.
and how much time they spent, so they can look at their list and be like, okay, all you people who wrote some really nice checks, like, you're covered already. Like, these are the amounts for the people who gave in other ways that they would like to recognize.
You could have like a minimum amount of donated volunteer time. Like if you put in
They can determine.
100 hours or something, you maybe get your name over here with all the other volunteers that've done 100+ hours or something. I'm just throwing a number out.
Yeah.
Where I thought you were going with that too is that would take care of the foundation piece. And then from that point on, you have your set amount to
Yeah.
continue in the
Sure.
future.
To go,
But you're just
exactly,
recognizing, we're just saying we're recognizing the.
recognizing the work up until now, right?
And the
Once
stake-
it's
like the
open and
stakeholders.
Yeah.
it's on the wall, right? Then it becomes you donate X amount and that's how you get your name up there. But to get to that point and to recognize all that's been done for X many years.
If you look at, like, I think a good example to look at if you're around and can go there is the new one in Mount Vernon, the new YMCA pool in Mount Vernon, because they built a plan for that, for the whole facility, for every level of, so they have, individuals who contributed this and that. They also have corporate donors who are interested. Pickles shows up.
Yeah.
The thrift, the Whitby Telecom. And so if you look at their facility, it's all, the look and feel is the same. The plaques are all the same, slightly bigger font for different colors. And they go from the entryway, which is, recognizing individuals, private individuals. And then like the conference room's got a name, from,
They had it in
Les
motion
Schwab's
for this room.
conference room because Les Schwab gave them $100,000.
Yeah.
And then, hallway like that, but it's very like you walk away thinking somebody had organized this and like it was planned out beforehand because it all looks totally seamless. So it's a good, if you're, like I said, it's 5 minutes off I-5 when you're in downtown Mount Vernon. It's just a neat thing to walk through for that, just to look at that thing. Because I think they do it really well.
But a couple other local ideas too is like, I think Wicca was brought up. I think they have like a dollar amount. You can see who donated this amount, that amount.
Yeah.
Freeland Park though, bricks going to the barbecue area. I don't know that there's a dollar amount listed. Someone has their name. A lot of people have the name on their bricks. Maybe there's 100 bricks. I haven't seen where it says 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. So that's another idea too. And maybe more prominent donors have a more prominent spot, go closer to the door or something. Someone who donates 1,000, maybe it's a little further back, but just another idea. Have to list how much someone donated. Well, we could.
I would prefer a solution that does not have
Dollars.
listed anyways.
listed anyway. Yeah. It can be, a larger font or a different color or some other way of making it
That's- yeah.
special, but I don't like the idea of dollar amounts.
Yeah, there's one, I think it's the East Tacoma Quick Center where it's a tree motif. So there's leaves on the tree. And so it's not like there's a hierarchy. It's you happen to be over there and you're looking, oh, where's whoever? Oh, they're over here. So that way it kind of, downplays the, pyramid.
So for now, the foundation, I can send this back to the foundation because it was their thing they brought to us. They were ready to give us a proposal, or at least to discuss a proposal. They're having their annual meeting tomorrow night. I'll send it back to them and say, yeah, give us your thoughts. And then we'll put it as an agenda item for a future meeting to make decisions.
And my request to them would be, they all go to all these other facilities, just take some pictures of some things that they think are that would be interesting, and let us, do a little slideshow with what they find.
I think Pike's Place has bricks too. All of Pike's Place is just
Yeah,
bricks.
Fisherman's Terminal got them for the
Common.
lots at sea,
You don't even have to go to Seattle. You can just go to the Commons.
Common.
Yeah, the bricks in front of the Common.
Of course,
And like, I think the brickyard things there's a cost per brick. It's $500 or $100 for a brick, and that's just known that you want 3 bricks, it's $300. Well, one brick, it's fine.
I'm not sure where the bricks would go though, unless we put them
I-
in. So wait, but we don't have to,
don't want
discuss it.
brick.
We don't have to discuss it. Let's let the,
Particular case, just.
the donors are all coming through the foundation. Let's let them start the conversation. And we'll come back with their ideas and you guys can decide what you want to do with that. So, and then still waiting on the February drone pictures. This is the most recent drone picture from January. I have to do my drone reminder. But anyway,
Stop that.
that's okay. But since this has been taken, the pools have been dug out. Everything's been dug out. It's amazing. Jennifer went and put her hard hat on last month and toured the site with me, and
So cool.
yeah, it was cool. It's all coming
Carrie
together.
took a cute selfie of us.
We had a lady come in yesterday wanting to figure out what all the holes were for. That's cute. It was like, I mean, she knew it was for a pool, but she was trying to get a vision of. It's hard to, you're not going to see it for a while. The walls will start coming up and it'll start getting a little bit more tangible for you. So anyways, that is it for the class and comp. That
Almost a year out.
from having occupancy, we should have occupancy early March. If it stays on schedule, and so far it's on schedule.
All right, then we'll move on to new business.
All right, well, I'll show you the visual first. This is the structure we're talking about. It's the rope climbing structure. Our parks guys are all playground safety inspector certified. So inspecting this, they found a lot of issues. And I think I'll show you the visual of one of the issues. You can kind of see that the connections are becoming rusty. They're metal inside the rope that's starting to fray. So this needs to come out. It's become a safety hazard as we get into our busy season. It was installed in 2009. The simple answer here is Tom did some research, and the company that put it in, he was able to do. It took a while, but he found the original manufacturer of this, and we can just replace the netting. It's not cheap. It's about, like you can see, it's a little over 32,000, and that would basically give us a new structure. The pole and all that are fine, and that would stay in place. But it just comes down to this isn't a budgeted item. So we went through the budget, see, okay, can we find this anywhere? Problem is, discretionary funds in February are different than in November. In November, you kind of know what the year was like. You kind of know what you have money for and what you don't. The only real pot of monies that we found was, one is we do have a capital reserve fund, and that's kind of what this is for. But unfortunately, it's only up to 15,000 right now. So we could utilize some of that for this. The other pot of money that is there is at some point this year, we're transferring $1 million into the construction fund as part of the past levy. That number, as we get closer to the end of the year, we could potentially reimburse some of that, but we could utilize some of that money here to get this repaired now. The other option is just to remove it and deal with this next year. So there's kind of 3 options on the table. One option is just remove it for now, leave it vacant for a year, discuss it in the 27 budget. Option 2 is to get it replaced and use portions of the capital reserve fund, 15,000, and 17,000 out of the money we were planning to transfer into the capital fund from the $1 million. And the third option is don't touch the capital reserve fund, just spend the whole 32,000 from the money we were going to transfer. So it is, from what I hear, a very popular play structure. It's not, of all the stuff up there, I hear that it's it's not, it's one that needs utilized.
What is?
I don't
what's
personally
the,
utilize it.
like option 4,
Oh,
what is
please,
the cost of a new?
more. And I didn't
More?
bring that, yeah, if you're putting a brand new structure in there,
I
you're,
mean, it doesn't have to look exactly the same.
No, no.
I'm saying a climbing structure of sorts.
you're getting closer to 6 digits for,
Okay.
for a nice one that's going to be.
And if it were removed
Mhm.
and we table until next year, is that a question of just taking down the netting and leaving the pole?
Yeah. Probably. I haven't talked to Tom that specifically, but yeah, that would be the vision
And
I would have. But then you'd have the option next year of putting it in.
but what are the safety implications of just leaving the pole there? Like, kids get it.
Here in the tetherball.
You know what I mean? Like,
Talk about
but
it in my head.
I don't think it's any more of a safety issue than this little, I'm not sure if my cursor's moving.
That's a PE teacher. You tell your kids don't know how to climb a pole.
Maybe it's.
My daughter can climb.
Will not be an issue.
It will. Or, I don't think a pole any more than that wood pole behind it's, that wood pole is probably more of an issue because it gives you splinters. So,
I mean, oh, as someone with a 2.5-year-old that goes here maybe once a week, there's a lot of kids that go in there. And my 2.5-year-old started to climb on it Monday. I think she was on that for half an hour, and there's probably maybe 5 other kids. Just random half hour on a Monday. Just 5 kids. So multiply that out times the week. It is, I would say, it's heavily used. I don't love the idea of dismantling it until next year. I'd be a proponent of option 2 or 3.
And I mean, to me, this is exactly what the capital reserve fund is for, so we should spend it.
Yeah.
For this, and then make up the rest, and that should, to me, that's encouragement for us to continue the rest to fund it. So that we're not, I think that's what, is exactly what it's for. Agree.
yeah, that would be staff's recommendation too. So, in this case, I mean, you're.
What is the implication of using 17,000 from that?
It's potentially 17,000 less that's going into the construction fund. With the levy passing, $1 million was scheduled to go into the construction fund from the extra money we'll have this year.
Right.
It'd be $17,000 less. Again, as we get into November, the end of the year, that's when we really kind of know, do we have a few $1,000s extra we haven't spent here? There might be extra money because that's about the time we want to, I don't know when we're going to transfer the $1 million over to the construction fund. I would think towards the end of the year.
Yes, or if we need it sooner for some
Yeah.
reason. And I think, one of the implications, assuming a contingency and everything fully gets spent, is that we would have to finance add 17,000, 18,000 to our LTGO bond.
Yeah.
Which was gonna be at the most, we think, 3.7 million.
This was just another thing if it was, one of 5 swings or something. I do agree with Jake's comment, and that's why I keep hearing from people when we've talked about this, like, oh, that one. It seems to be the one people gravitate to, and an investment as we get, and there's about an 8-week cycle here that we're gonna have to wait. So that's why we're bringing it to you in February, because if we said yes tonight, we'd probably be having it installed about April, which would be about right.
My 10-year-old still uses it. She climbs up there. She has me use a stopwatch to time how fast she can get up, and we have personal best records and everything.
When I first saw that, I was running by there not too long ago, and there was a dad. He's all the way up top. And he's sitting there while his son's climbing up the other end. So when I looked at that frayed rope, I'm thinking, it's not just 57-pound kid.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Well, and you wait for Wednesday after school, when the middle school and high school's out early. You'll see the older kids out there.
I mean, they build them with steel cables for a reason, right? You gotta be ready for every common denominator.
Yeah.
I was gonna say in town, when I worked in town, there's a couple parks I worked at that had these, and Willis Tucker had one that was about twice the size. And I think the bigger they are, the more big kids you get. There's always be adults on there too.
Right.
Very popular climate structures.
So man, my personal feeling is option 3. And as much as we can from the capital
then I would entertain a motion.
Would
There's
like to
verbiage,
make a motion.
proposed verbiage there if you'd like to use it.
Does everybody have the sheet?
To. Yeah. Okay.
It's in your file.
I'll make a motion to, yeah. To increase the capital budget by $32,710.86, to transfer $15,000 from the capital reserve to partially fund this, and to take the remaining $17,710.86 from the $1 million transfer to the construction fund scheduled for later in 2026.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to increase the capital budget by $32,710.86 and to transfer $15,000 from the capital reserve to partially fund this and to take the remaining $17,710.86 from the $1 million transfer to the construction fund scheduled for later in 2026. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, I.
Krista, I.
Jake, I.
And I,
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Right, if nothing else, then we are adjourned at 7:16. Right.